Hello, my name is Grand Kirby-Johnson, and this is
Messiah Amram. I'm here with the Center for Communications.
And I teach communications, production, and writing, and today we will be reviewing interviewing and camera work. All right, so guys, last week we talked about what makes a good interview and the skills you're needed when you go out on the field. Really quickly, we're gonna go over some key elements of the interviewing process. So first off, what's the first thing we have to do when you are getting ready for an interview?
Find where the cameras need to be set up.
So before we get to that part, like, you have your subject, you have the story, what do you need to do? Questions. You have to, questions. All right, let's go with the questions. What sort of questions are we looking for? Open-ended and closed-ended questions. Why are those the sort of questions that we look for?
Because they can give you the answers you need and also creates the more questions with an open-ended one.
Yes, so when you have open-ended questions, it gives room for storytelling when we are writing the article, right? We want to avoid those yes or no questions because it doesn't really get to take us there. And when we're crafting these questions, what do we have to keep in mind? What do we have to keep in mind about who we're interviewing? I heard somebody say it. The background, right? Your job is to go out and find information about them, right? You want to be able to make the interview less formal and more so of a conversation. Why do we like those conversation types? Go ahead, Em.
They're more entertaining to watch.
They're more entertaining to watch. We don't like those boring interviews where it's feel all dry. Like, we want the personality. We want the people to be comfortable. Now, my question to y'all is, what sort of common mistakes do we want to avoid when we are setting up the interview?
Do your research first.
Do your research, right? Know who you're interviewing. What else? When they're asking questions, what should you be doing? Taking notes, right? Actively listening, getting the story out, figuring out what is sparking your interest, what is giving you that aha moment, let me write that down. What else?
How they respond to certain questions, so their body language.
Yes, how to respond to certain questions so their body language becomes more welcoming, right? How should your body language be as the interviewer? Should you be slouched over? Should you be looking up at the ceiling? Should you be rolling your eyes at some of the answers? How should your body language look? Go ahead.
Relaxed but formal.
Relaxed but formal. That's really good. What else? Like, what is like this? Just use that as yours. Describe it.
Professional.
You're very professional. What else? Like, should you be leaned back with some of the answers, or should you try to lean in, make it a little comfortable for them, right? You want to give the impression that you're interested in what they have to say. When they're talking, what should you be doing, other than all of that we said? Looking at them in their face. Should we interrupt? No. Why shouldn't we interrupt? You want to let them finish what they're saying, right? Even though sometimes we get a little bit excited about what they might be talking about, you want to let them finish what they're saying because you don't know what you're cutting off, right? They can the next thing that comes out of their mouth, it could be something really important and what's going to sell the story. So you want to always don't interrupt. You want to keep your body language focused and engaged and into it. You want to just seem a little into it, right? We always like our interviews to be very conversational so that it doesn't give you that stiff look, so that it doesn't feel awkward, right? You guys watched a couple of interviews last week, correct? What did y'all notice? Well, explain. We can't say that. You got to explain. What made them bad interviews? It came off as attacking, and what happened to the person who was being interviewed when that happened? You had people walk out of interviews. Is that what you want? No. Are people going to want to interview with you after that? No. What else you got?
You can't repeat the same question over and over again.
right? You can't repeat yourself over and over again. You have to listen to what they're saying, because nothing's worse than them answering a question and then you ask the same question over again, right? They'll kind of be like, well, I just said that. What else from the interviews that y'all watched?
Dude kept trying to make Mike Vick feel worse and worse about the situation.
Right, that's a really good point. You take a story where somebody made a mistake, and instead of you moving on with it, right, he kind of harped on him, kind of made him feel bad about himself, which didn't make for a good interview. That's why we use it, all right? So I want you to quickly turn to your partner. You guys are going to do a little activity, and you are going to you're going to ask a question about their weekend. Now, what sort of question am I going to look for? Open-ended question, right? Because I want you to get something. Not a question like, did you leave the house this weekend? Ask a question that engages or encourages them to tell a story, all right? So I give y'all 2 minutes, ask the person around you, okay? Go.
I took some naps.
Glad to hear it. How was that experience?
Yeah.
I don't know
went
what
to
to
church
ask
this
you.
weekend.
How was your weekend? Explain.
It was pretty good. I mean, I got stuck. I just didn't fire.
Wait, so what did you think of the movie?
The movie, I thought it was good. They could have gone far with it, have a little more story to it.
Oh.
It was a little. They went back a little bit.
They had different rides, food places. They had a lot of convenience stores there.
What about your mom and your dad? What's the cake? So you kind of want to stay away.
I think they do cakes like every week or so 3 times a week. After the party, I didn't really do anything. Sunday, I stayed at home and I watched church, and then after that, I watched football, and that was it.
So what was the best thing about the weekend?
Best thing about the weekend, I got out the house, I went to church, I sang for the kids, and I did a little media work as well.
Let's bring it back. So I heard some really good questions out there. I heard some really good follow-up questions. What you want to do is you want to be able to bounce ideas back and forth, because a lot of times when you are interviewing people, you won't necessarily always know them, right? You won't have that background knowledge of like their likes or dislikes. So you want to ask questions, because a lot of times, most people, not all, what is their favorite thing to talk about? Themselves. So you use these interviews as a way for them to gloat about themselves and put themselves out there on a broader scale, because essentially when you think about it, everybody wants to be liked. So this is a chance for them to put themselves out there, you to ask questions, and when they feel you leaning into some of their answers, it creates a smoother interview. You won't leave the place like, oh my God, that was so awkward. No, you feel comfortable saying, so the next time they come around and say, hey, I would like to interview again, you already have that comfort level, right? You already know them, you've already established a relationship, so it'll become easier, the questions will flow better, and it just becomes it works better for the article or package that you're complete. All right, so we've worked on that, and as you guys are getting ready to go out and conduct your own interviews across the school, the question is, where do you set up your camera placement? All right, and that is what we are going to do with Mr. A today. We're going to review where you set up your cameras, where should the person getting interviewed be, the person running the audio. It all comes down to the setup. So that's what we're going to do today.
All right, guys. So earlier we had talked a little bit about where to set up the camera from. I'm going to get a couple of you guys to help me out, right? We got, well, he doesn't have a name, but we got Tabitha here. Do we see them here? If I'm clear out of the way?
Yeah.
All right. So like we were talking about the 180-degree rule, right? That means basically whatever side that you set the camera up on, that's going to have to stay on that one side. Otherwise, what happens? Like, let's say we have Tabitha, this probably looking at this one, right? Joseph, can you grab that camera and zoom in? Zoom in on Green here, please. When you zoom in, put him in the left of frame. And that one's just, yeah, there you go. We'll keep him in the left of frame. Yep, you're good. Keep going. That's good right there, right? So we can see here, right? We have one in the right of frame looking left, and we have the other left of frame looking right. Does everybody see that? So my question is, let's say if they're sort of, if both of them are in the right of frame, what would that look like?
It looks like they're both looking at the same thing, but they're supposed to look at each other.
Exactly, right? Like, and this is jarring for the viewer, right? Because you'll notice that something's off. You won't quite be able to pick what it is up, but it'll kind of look unsettling. And in news or in movies, you distract the audience if that's the case. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so basically that's all the line really means, right? If we have Tabitha here in the right of frame looking left, that means that we have to keep Green in the left looking right. Now, in a lot of interviews like we had seen, this is a single, that's a single. If we wanted a wide of two people, right, when they're first meeting, what side of the line, Chris, could you grab this for me? Grab the other end of this and walk it towards Joseph. Okay, so this is the physical line here. I'm gonna set it down here. I locked it this time. All right. All right, so what side of the line would we want to get our wide shot at? Right, we would stay on this side, right? Right? Okay. So we would want to be, right now we have Tabitha in the right side, we have Green on the left side. So you would take your camera, you would clear this out, and you would get a shot, a wide shot, to make sure that Tabitha was staying in the right of frame and Green was staying in the left. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, real quick, let me get Shaka, let me get Jaden. Come, you guys replace these two puppets here. Sit in for me. And this is a trick in the news. A lot of times you want to have what they call like just an introduction shot or a shot when the two people are first there. So we're going to adjust the camera. Joseph, we'll adjust the camera for that to. So you guys are looking at each other, right? And like I said in the wide, right? A lot of times we would get just them meeting and introducing themselves for the first time. So both of you guys stand up, shake hands, and pretend to talk to each other. Like, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. And then you sit down, right? So now you've got a 3-camera setup, right? You've got a single on Shaka here. You've got a single on Jaden over there. And then you would have a wide shot that's just picking up kind of the intro. You guys ever watch the news and they said, I spoke to President Obama about, and that's them sort of sitting down, getting ready for the beginning of the interview, right? Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. All right, good. All right, so the other things to remember when you guys first take the cameras and you're setting them up, right? You're not gonna have 2 cameras, you'd have 1. So Joseph, where you are right there, where would Shaka be looking? If you're set here, right? We have him in the left, we want him looking right. Do you remember what we called eye line, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so where would you want his eye line to be? If we have him set up in the left frame and he's looking towards the right, where would you stand? Say again?
The right of the shot versus the left.
Well, he'd be looking, go that way? Joseph, go that way? Yeah. No, like actually walk that way. Yep. And then look at Joseph. All right, so we have him in the left. Put up your left fist. That's where you want to be looking. Does that make sense? Because that's going to match your eye line. So when you guys are standing behind the camera, right, you're going to be putting maybe a fist out so that the person can match that eye line so that they're not looking directly at the lens. Everybody good with that? Okay, and then what else? Past that, like I think Kavan had said, if you don't have the opportunity to be on a tripod, let's say, like earlier, we saw that someone was walking around with their camera. If you're doing a single interview, you're shouldered up, right? Your hand holding from the right. Where do you want them to be staring at you? Outside shoulder, right? Your left shoulder. And that way, that'll ease that tension and they won't be like, where do I need to look? You say, just look right here. You start recording, okay? Everybody good with that one? Yeah. All right, and the last thing that we talked about, when you first set up your interview, right? What are some of the things? There's about 3 things that you want to be clear of, that you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of or that you're looking at. What are they? Lighting. Right. What kind of lighting do we want? We want a key light. We want something that's not harsh, that's not causing shadows, right? White balance, right? If you know how, you can white balance. What else, Chris?
Textured background.
Absolutely. Background, right?
Sound. Make sure it sounds good.
Sound as well. So we want a textured background. We'll touch on that, right? Textured background. What do we mean by that?
It's got like depth and some changes in color even.
Right. Some depth, changes of color. What color do we not want if we can avoid it?
White.
White, right? Because white doesn't look that great against brown and other skin tones, right? Because the camera's going to be competing based off of what setting to basically focus on, and that's not ideal, right? Okay, you said background. What did you say, Kavon?
Sound.
Sound. Everybody be quiet for 1 second. What do we hear? We hear the HVAC, right? We hear the air intakes, right? So when you have your microphones, you're going to want to make sure that you can mix down that sound and make sure that it's clear for whoever you're interviewing, okay? You guys are going to be all over campus sometimes when you're doing the interviews, so you want to make sure that it's set, that it's a good setting. How do we make people comfortable who have never been on camera before? What are some tricks that we can do? Does anybody know? Breathe. That's good. That's always important. Breathing. What's up, Harper?
Talk to them, like get them comfortable, just like while people are setting up, just chat with them and so they can be comfortable around the camera.
Absolutely. Talk with them. What are some things that I said I usually talk with people about? Doesn't matter. Sports, right? Sports. The weather. Anybody got anything else? Some of you guys were talking about it when Kirby was asking you to do interviews. The weekend or the movies, right? Some people were talking about films or bad films. So those things you can talk about, that'll settle a person in, and then you can sort of conduct your interview. And remember, it's okay for them to make mistakes at first. It's okay for them to be awkward. Your job is to make them look as good as possible, okay? All right, so thank you guys for helping me out. We're gonna break into groups right now. Like I said, we're gonna break into groups of 3, right? So one person's gonna be camera, one person's gonna be audio, one person's gonna be the subject who gets interviewed, okay? And we're gonna be in various areas. I think one group is gonna be in Studio A, one group is gonna be in the control room, one group is gonna be in the lab, one group in the presentation room. Remember, like I told you guys, look out for the orange marks. That's kind of the general direction that I want you to be facing the camera in. And then also, if you have any issues with sound, come find me. I threw a curveball at you guys today, so not all the sound is going to be the same, right? We're going to have a few different microphones, okay? All right, so let's break off into groups, and then we'll get started. Guys, to make sure it's balanced, you have the bubble up here, right? And you can always use that bubble to make sure that the thing is balanced.
Now, the only reason I would caution against covering it up, why do you think we don't want to cover it up?
Because it might ruffle the audio.
That's right, it's going to rub off on it, right? So it's okay if you show it. It's okay. Try again.
1, 2, 3, no.
All right, close it.
So tighten up the shot. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kirby-Johnson, and we hope you enjoyed our lesson on interviewing. Go Blue!